Hi there, this is Jenn from Dajen Eats. Welcome to another one of our tutorials. Someone sent me an email the other day asking for very simple breakfast recipes. She said, Jen, don't you make anything simple? Well, I thought all of the recipes I shared with you were rather simple, but I'll take it way down. And today we're going to do crispy potatoes and eggs. I won't show you how to make the eggs, that will be another class. But right now we're going to talk about how to get the right crispy potato. And we've started out with about a potato and a half. I'll just show you really quickly how I diced it. I don't want to take it for granted that you might already know. So guys, dicing is really cutting in 2 or 3 different opposite directions to get the one cut. So we cut this way and we cut this way, and now to get the final pieces we just go right through, and there you have it. In just a few seconds you have your potato cubes. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is make sure you get a hot pot. We've been heating this pot a little bit, and I turn it up to high. When you're doing potatoes and items with a lot of starch, you want to make sure you cook it on high heat if you're looking for that crispiness. All right, the pot is hot. We'll add about a tablespoonful of oil. You want to get oil with a high heat point. So olive oil would not work. It doesn't have a high heat point, but coconut oil or canola oil would work perfectly. Good. Remember the last time we talked about it, guys? If you can see legs in the pan, then your oil is ready. We take the potatoes. Okay. And get it in the pan. And I'll share with you a tip. And it goes like this. Leave it alone. Guys, you want to leave the potato alone. In order for it to get the crisp for items that are high in starch, like potatoes, you put it in the pot on high heat and you leave it alone. This is how we saute the potatoes. For those who are not familiar with the term saute, it literally means jump. So when you see all those fancy shows or the restaurants, or if you're capable of doing it yourself and they're tossing the stuff in the pan, that's sauteing, because it's the idea of jumping the item. You don't want to remove the pan from the heat for too long. You just kind of turn the potatoes by flipping it, and you continue. So we're going to let it sear and get a nice crisp crust before we move it. So we've given it about a minute or 2 to get the crust on the outside, and now we're going to toss it, which is what saute means. If you are uncomfortable with this, guys, please go ahead and take your spoon or whatever you want to use and toss it. I'm going to flip it, and I'll show you how. You basically bring everything down to the edge of the pan and you flip it. I didn't do too badly. It's not all over the floor, and I didn't send myself to the hospital. Just kind of spread it out. The idea, guys, is to use just a little bit of oil to cover the bottom of the pan, but not enough so that when you're tossing, the oil will splatter all over the place. So we repeat on the next side, give it enough time for it to crisp up. And guys, even though we started out on high heat, you don't have to cook the potato for the rest of the time on high heat. What you want to do is get it on high to start so you can get the outer crust. Once that is done, you can then turn it down so the rest of the potato, that's the inside of the potato, will cook. If you leave it on high heat for the entire period, you'll essentially burn the potatoes a little bit too much. I'm going to just give it another toss really quickly. Do you see that? Beautiful color. At this point, I want to talk to you a little bit about salting. Salt draws out moisture out of food, and it makes it a little bit softer. So if you're making potatoes or anything that you want to have a crisp exterior, you want to salt as late as possible. So you want to make sure you salt it after the potatoes are done cooking. If you salt it earlier, then you won't get the crisp exterior. You'll actually have the soft potato. We're going to make another potato recipe later in another episode where we do a potato with sausage and eggs, and that's when you want the potatoes to be a little bit softer, and you salt it then. But just as when you're doing French fries, you want to fry the potato or saute the potato like we're doing here, and then add the salt. So now that we have the crisp exterior and everything is going fine, we want to add a bit of salt. Not a whole lot, just a bit. And I'm not going in the air just to be fancy. When you sprinkle the salt from a higher height, I guess, you get a lot more, you cover a lot more surface area. So if you sprinkle the salt from here, it falls all over the pan. As opposed to sprinkling it closer, then you'll have too much salt in one area and you have to use more salt, and that might result in the potatoes or whatever else you're cooking being a little too salt. Does that make sense? Okay. So guys, it is finished. Wasn't that quick? You can make this for breakfast. Serve it with a bit of scrambled eggs like I have here. That is gorgeous and quick. It's one of my husband's favorite. And I would just finish it with some freshly chopped herbs. Just like that. And if I'm in a fancy mood, a bit of cheese. Right now I'm using pecorino, which is a lot like Parmesan, but it's a little bit more cost effective. It has the same taste profile. They're both from Italy. You should try it. Guys, that's it for a quick breakfast recipe. You can go to dajeneats.com. You'll find this and many other recipes there. Let's cook together.